I, 40 male, have an identical twin brother, Steve, and used to be married to my high school sweetheart, Amanda, 40 female. I proposed to her after high school, but when we told our parents, they felt that we were too young and convinced us to at least wait until college, as the stress of grades could affect the relationship. During sophomore year, I decided to drop out and enlist in the military since I was unwilling to sign up for any debt. Amanda didn't like the idea of seeing me even less, but I assured her that it would only be temporary. We'd still get married after she finished college and listed all the benefits of me joining the military. She was starting to warm up to the idea until her nosy drama-loving cousin told her about all the cheating stories and told me that if I didn't get out of enlistment, we were over. She told me this the day before I was scheduled to report for training and fly off to basic training. I had to go. The breakup only lasted a few weeks, and I officially proposed to Amanda after training was done. We got married and started living our lives, hopping from base to base over the years and had kids. However, after our second child was born, Amanda started longing for home and we moved back. We bought a house back in our home state, but I had to be stationed somewhere else for a few months in order to go live there. It was hard, but Amanda and I made it work. During this time, I made friends with a female coworker, but nothing ever happened. I told Amanda I was arriving later than what I actually said, so I could both surprise her and be well rested. I stayed with a buddy of mine on base, and I actually spent part of the day helping a superior officer put together a bedroom set for her daughter. When I arrived home, I walked in on my wife with another man. Thank goodness my buddy was there with me, otherwise I might have gone to jail. I was furious, but Amanda didn't show any remorse and then proceeded to tell me that she knew I had cheated and would be reporting me for it. I was so confused. Apparently, Steve pretended to be me so he could get laid, and that's who Amanda's nosy cousin saw, and after it was revealed that I had lied about my actual return date, Amanda wanted revenge. Steve immediately confessed and apologized, and after my superior officer and friend gave their statements, I was cleared of everything. I filed for divorce, kept contact with Amanda down to a bare minimum, and didn't speak to Steve for years. Eventually, Steve and I made up, and we're good now. But Amanda thought that I had finally forgiven her too, and was upset when I stated that I didn't. Her cousin is calling me sexist, and that I'm being a bad dad for treating the mother of my children so coldly. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Since people are asking and/or have questions, let me try to clarify. When my brother was out at a club, a girl recognized Steve from a social media post and started chatting with him. She assumed Steve was, and just didn't correct her. That was how he pretended to be me. They hooked up by the end of the night, and that was that. As identical twins, Steve and I had a habit of either pretending to be each other or letting people assume we were the other person because it was fun. Once Steve found out what happened, he immediately confessed and was very apologetic. I eventually forgave him because, in spite of everything, I still loved and missed my brother. I don't love or miss Amanda. I can't explain it, but after seeing her with another man in our house, something in me clicked and love started to die. Edit 2. Because we have kids, I'm forced to still communicate with Amanda. For their sake, I'm civil, but cold. I don't say anything beyond hello or goodbye. I don't ask how she's doing. I have her blocked everywhere on social media, and unless it has something to do with the kids, I don't acknowledge and/or respond to anything she has to say. Edit 3. Yes, I DNA tested my kids. They're mine. Amanda even had the audacity to be upset over it. Also, no, Steve and Amanda never slept together, and Steve said he only pretended to be me to get laid once. I also mentioned the female coworker because Amanda always felt threatened by our closeness and tried to get her in trouble with the military too. My colleague shortly retired after the incident and came out as gay. To the best of my knowledge, Amanda never apologized to her. Jesus, the way that was going, I was betting on it being your wife porked Steve while you were away, and you walked in on them. Your brother pretended to be you to get laid. Your wife revenge ducked someone without a shred of evidence. They are not the same thing, not the a-hole. Did she forget you had a twin? Not the a-hole. A rational adult would have asked questions. A rational adult would not have invited another man over for sex because they thought their spouse cheated. Not the a-hole. Divorce is painful. Your ex-wife betrayed you, and that is a painful, painful thing to deal with. As long as you're cordial with her around your kids, that's all she's owed. My younger brother and his girlfriend had a daughter born in March. He was happy, and as a family, we were happy for him as well. But then the virus started, and being locked down with the baby ended in him having constant fights with the mother. I don't know all the details, but it seems in September things got really ugly, and he started doubting paternity. By the end of October, he got the DNA results, and he isn't the father. The problem is that we live in South America, and we have a very stupid and outdated laws regarding kids. We hired a lawyer and got told he is screwed, because he did sign the birth certificate, no matter what the DNA says. Now he has to go to family court to establish child support, and given that he works as a manager in the family business, He could owe a lot of money to this woman for the next 18 years. This being South America, the only real option left, as told by the lawyer, is to bribe the family judge so child support comes as low as possible, based on minimum wage and not his actual salary. This is the closest to justice he'll ever get in this messed up country. So would I be the a-hole if I pitched 50% of the cash needed for the bribe? Not the a-hole. Those laws are ridiculous. Can't they track the actual dad? Your brother shouldn't have to pay, I agree. I would say not the a-hole here. This is sadly why paternity tests should be done before the family leaves the hospital. Now he's on the hook because she doesn't want to look for the real father. If it's a family business, pay brother cash wages and put the lowest amount on the books as his salary, as low as you can get away with. He claims the low amount to the courts and pays her next to nothing. It's more legal than bribing a judge. Not the a-hole. I have an older half-brother, Rory. We share the same dad. I live with my mom and stepdad. Rory comes to see me regularly, and we usually go out together. I'm 15, Rory is 24, and I have two stepsisters, 11 and 9. A few months ago, some valuable items were stolen from our house. Some jewelry, my stepdad's expensive watches, and some cash. They immediately accused Rory of doing it and banned me from seeing him or talking to him. I defended Rory, and I was grounded as a result. The accusation was false because that day Rory picked me up outside and never came in, but they didn't believe me and accused me of lying to protect him. The police had no reason to believe it was my brother, and they didn't even consider him a suspect. About 2 weeks ago, the thief was found out as he did the same thing at a relative's house, and they had security cameras and eventually confessed to stealing from us as well. It obviously was not Rory. It was my stepdad's nephew who had somehow copied the key without him noticing and used it to break in when nobody was home. I'm angry about all of this, and I asked them to apologize to both me and Rory for their false accusations, which my mom said she's happy to do, but my stepdad said no and told me I just have to learn to move on. Later that day, I reminded him to be extra careful about his keys when he visits his relatives, to be sure nobody steals it, and he wouldn't end up accusing people I love for no reason. This morning he was looking for his sunglasses and couldn't find it, and I suggested that maybe I should help him find it before he goes to accuse someone innocent of stealing it. He looked at me and told me to stop being rude. My mom talked to me and told me that I should stop being an a-hole about it and apologize for not letting us move on from the unfortunate incident. I don't see why I should not advise caution when my family will be the scapegoat if things go wrong. Am I the a-hole for expecting an apology and not moving on until I get it? Not the a-hole. Accusing someone of stealing is a big deal. They just can't accept that they ducked it up. Also, why did they accuse him? My stepdad just doesn't like him and always says he's a bad influence without any reason. Not the a-hole. Why is it on you and Rory, the wronged parties in this scenario, to make nice and move on? Rory was slandered to the whole family. He could have been arrested if the cops were less conscientious. You were punished for providing him an alibi and not doing anything wrong. Yes, your stepfather acted abominably, and he owes you and Rory apologies. You should not be expected to let this go because your stepdad did you wrong, and it means he will let you and other people suffer for his pettiness and pride in the future. Nobody should let him think that's okay. Not the a-hole. Ask your mom why your stepdad's behavior is acceptable. She was ready and willing to apologize, so clearly she recognizes that you and Rory were wronged by being falsely accused, with zero evidence to back it up. Is apologizing to people we've wronged not the right thing to do? My grandmother bought an expensive silver and ivory baby rattle back when those things were incredibly trendy as baby gifts. This was in the 1930s. She then gifted it to my mom when she first got pregnant, who then passed to my older sister when she had her baby, and finally to me. 5 years ago, my husband and I had a baby girl who passed away suddenly before she turned 1. It's been the most challenging chapter of my life, and it's changed me forever. I've kept some of her baby things in a locked box I keep under my bed, and one of these things is the silver rattle that my daughter used to love the sound of, and we'd actually play with it even though it was mostly decorative. Her initials are also engraved on the side, along with every other baby that has been given to. Now my sister-in-law is pregnant for the first time, and she recently asked me for this rattle. To be honest, most people in the family have already forgotten about it. I don't even know how she knows about it. I sat on it for a while and told her I don't think I can part with the rattle, but I'm happy to buy her another one that's similarly precious. She was really unhappy with this and told my brother, who then sought me out to make me give up the rattle. I told him I have so few things left of my daughter, and I'd really like to keep them as long as possible. My mom and sister also agreed to let me keep it, and the whole family, other than sister-in-law and brother, thinks I should hold on to it for as long as I need. But now this has become a big family drama where my sister-in-law has publicly declared it unfair that I can just stop an heirloom from being passed on if I want. She says I have no right to keep that rattle if I don't have any kids and not expecting any babies. Am I the a-hole for saying no to her? I know I have fewer uses for that rattle, but I still want to keep it for sentimental reasons. My sister-in-law has asked me why I am purposefully excluding her from the tradition, and I've tried to explain my feelings, but she's convinced I'm doing this to spite her for some reason. Am I the a-hole? Edit. A lot of people assuming I pushed my family into letting me keep the rattle. I had asked everyone at the start of this, and my mom and sisters had gotten so angry at my sister-in-law's request, they wanted to confront her directly. They had been the most passionate and vocal about making me keep this rattle. Another thing about people asking how it's been passed down. It's been through mothers and daughters. My grandma gave it first to my mom, then my mom gave it to my younger sister, and then back to my mom, then my oldest sister. I've got 2 brothers, one older and one younger, married to this sister-in-law, and traditionally, sister-in-laws in the family were not passed this rattle. No a-hole. It's understandable that you feel an emotional attachment to the rattle, and the rattle was gifted to you initially, and presumably if your daughter were living, they would not have made this request. That said, in the spirit in which the rattle was gifted, don't you think it's a little sad to keep it locked away when another child could get enjoyment out of it? In this way, passing the rattle on could be a nice gesture, and also allows a way for your upcoming niece or nephew to have a connection with the cousin they were never fortunate enough to know. It's your choice what you do with it at the end of the day, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I just think the nice thing to do would be to pass the family heirloom on to someone who can actually put it to use while still keeping it in the family. It seems cruel for the sister-in-law to be demanding the rattle from you the way she is. However, it does appear you are breaking the tradition of passing this rattle to each newborn baby in the family by holding it. From your description, if your daughter hadn't passed the rattle into your possession, it would be her time to pass the rattle to its next owner. I think everyone sucks here, but with regrets. Not the a-hole, because there's no law that dictates all heirlooms must be passed on within a certain period. If your entire family agrees you should keep it, your sister-in-law should respect that too. If you want to smooth things over, maybe get the whole family to chip in on another expensive rattle just for her to pass on. Heirloom traditions are made up all the time after all. Me, 16 female, and my brother, 23 male, are very close. We've had some crazy times together, and he's honestly my best friend. We may bicker from time to time, but we're siblings. What do you expect? To get straight to the point, my mom, 54 female, absolutely hates my sister-in-law. My brother met her while he was at a party about 5 years ago. Long story short, they hit it off, and now she's his wife. He proposed in February 2020, and the proposal was a nightmare. He got on one knee, and my mother went crazy, saying she didn't want such a nasty, disrespectful woman to ruin our family. She didn't want her to make my brother less than a man, saying she wasn't woman enough to be with my brother, saying all of this spiteful stuff that, quite frankly, wasn't needed. Since then, he decided to go no contact with most of the family, except me and a few cousins. And my mom didn't bother to reach out since then. She thinks that he should have stuck up for her. Recently, my brother posted a picture of his newborn son on his Instagram. I posted it on my story saying congratulations, and one of my aunts showed the post to my mom. Needless to say, she was hurt. And I understand why she was hurt, because it is her grandchild. But my brother told everyone, except for my mom, before he went no contact, that the only reason why he's ceasing contact is because he won't tolerate the disrespect of his wife. They have 3 kids together, and he's made it clear she's not going anywhere. He loves them with everything in him, which means he's not taking any crap from anyone. My mom asked me about the post and asked if I could call my brother to see if he would at least talk to her. I did ask him, and he said no. I asked why, and he said, "My name, my family means everything to me, and if she can't understand that means my wife and kids, then I won't see her. Simple as that." I understand, and we continued talking, catching up and stuff, the usual. The next day, she asked me if I called him, and I said yes. I told her she wouldn't like what he had to say, and told her the reason why he won't talk to you is because he doesn't like how you constantly disrespect his family. And she said, his family is not family of mine. He knew that when he got that bee pregnant the first time. About an hour later, she took my phone, car, and my TV out of my room, and told the family that I lied and made the whole situation up. And now the family is saying that I shouldn't have lied on my brother, and that I'm a bad sister, daughter. I really don't care, to be honest, because I don't think I did anything wrong. Am I the a-hole? For everyone wondering, my brother and my sister-in-law offered me a place to stay. I'm planning on moving in about a week, and I do have a job which is closer from my brother's home than my mom's house. I do appreciate the concern from everyone. I'm planning on enlisting in the Air Force after I graduate high school, so it's progress. Not the a-hole. Judging from her behavior, I doubt she's going to have a relationship with any of her children in the future. You would do well to take the same path your brother has, because your mother doesn't sound mentally well, and punishing you because her own behavior has lost her any relationship with her son would make me want to leave as soon as I could. Not the a-hole. It's quite frankly unbelievable that the rest of your family doesn't see your mother for the liar she is. I suspect you will also need to go no contact, not just with her, but also these enablers in your family. Is living with your dad an option? You should get away from her now if you can. Talk to your brother if you can too. Maybe he can help. You're in an aggressive situation, it sounds like. Not the a-hole. You didn't do anything wrong, but your mother sure is. She has made her bed with her horrid behavior. Now she has to lie in it. You're not always going to like the people your children choose to marry. Your recourse is to bite your lip because you care about your children, not act like a child yourself. And you did her a favor trying to broker peace and being honest about what your brother said in response. Looks like she's shooting for 2 children going no contact someday.